You know, there was a study done years ago about sales. And really, when I guess to define that more when it comes to the study done about sales, what it was really done about was the close. Actually, a university went out and studied. It was I think it was over at least 1,000, probably a little over that, at least 1,000 different scenarios of businesses trying to close. And these were, I think most of them were Fortune 500 companies. They went in and just analyzed their salespeople going into a closing situation, and they documented it, they recorded it, they analyzed it and everything. And when all the data was washed out, was interesting was over, like I say, it was over 1,000 different closing scenarios. One of the things they found that was true to be, you know, basically the same answer came out every single time, was the more that they went to close, so the more attempts to close somebody, the fewer closings that actually happen. So basically in a position where every single time they would go in and try to close someone, and you know, sometimes it was multiple attempts to close someone. So they might have been on the phone, in person. There was a variety of different ways that this was all looked at. And what happened is when they would try to close someone, and you know, old method of close, 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 and hard close, the more they tried to close, the more they came in and hit the people hard on the close, the more of those people retreated, the more that is the client, and they just did not have great success on that. So they noticed that the more attempts that were made on that to close them, that the less likelihood it was for the salesperson to actually close them. So interesting enough, you know, I think back about, you know, my career in the real estate investment space, and I go back to when I started back in the 90s. And one of my first trainings and stuff I went to, you know, I did learn about working with sellers, calling the sellers and meeting them in person, but a lot of it was on the phone. And then we had these seller worksheets we would work with. And these are just basically intake sheets. You would write all the data down, you know, all the information, but also had questions on there. And what was funny was when I was taught that right out of the gate, what it was is as soon as I got on the phone with the person, it was like, all right, you know, find out what their name is, tell them who I am, and just go right at it. I mean, that's what I was taught. I was taught very aggressively at it and say, hey, what do you owe on the property? All right. You know, it was very, very harsh. What do you owe? Okay. How much you want? What do you want for it? Okay. Why are you selling? Well, you know, none of your business. Look, you want to be able to help you out or not? You know, it was very firm like that side of things. And then come down and say, all right, look, let me ask a question. If I can pay you all cash and close quickly, what's the least amount you can accept for your property? And then you would get some type of answer when it comes to that. Now, I'm not saying that last wording isn't powerful to be used sometimes, but everything else prior to that, I really didn't earn the right to even ask somebody that question, okay? So it took quite a few years of dealing with this. Now, I was doing still a good amount of deals and stuff like that, but what was interesting, it was mainly being worked off the numbers, okay? So, and that for the first several years, that's what I was doing. So I want you to understand this. So it was very much, you know, well, ABC Investments give me more money. All right, I'll give you a little bit more, you know, and that's how you worked it, okay? And that was a big thing back then. That was pretty well hard and heavy, just, you know, all about the numbers. It wasn't really about anything else. I mean, really, it wasn't, you know, but what I found was, you know, when I was doing that over and over again, And I went on lots of appointments, because back then it was pretty well appointments. You would talk to somebody on the phone and you would go to an appointment. But what I learned after doing that for a little while, that the more time that I spent talking to someone and building a relationship with them up front, the more success I had in closing things. Okay? So when I started realizing that what I was doing, in the beginning stages for the first few years, really matched what I was just sharing with you here from that study, that the more I just try to push to close, the more they would run away on things and avoid stuff. So I just started approaching it differently. And it was funny, because this is kind of, something I learned a lot on my own there in the beginning, was that, if I could come in, just be kind to somebody, if I could come in and truly try to help them out, that one, they would like me more. And number two, that the closer we become in friends, with helping them out of their situation, the more likely it was that they would work with me. And, I started getting that more, like, hey, your offer is a little bit lower, but I really liked you. I like what you guys do. I like how you explain things to me. And, I felt more comfortable. So I started getting more and more deals that way. And so I knew I was onto something. I just wasn't sure what it was at that time. So, guys, what I found out, and fast forward many, many years, that there's actually a process to selling. Okay? And a lot of people, a lot of people have been around processes before, but the process that you learn was completely different. You go in and you introduce yourself a little bit more, then you just go and present, and show them features, the benefits, and just close, just like that. And what I had to learn was that the highest closing ratios I had is when I started doing things differently than that, like I said, about really building the relationship side of things. So after many years of doing it the hard way, I started doing it an opposite way, and then I realized that, wow, there's actually got to be more out there than this. So over the years, I started developing my own sales process on things. And then, one of the things that we were able to establish here, I recently had purchased the REI Sales Academy from John Martinez, which he was the founder of that, really the gold standard when it comes to real estate investors having a proven sales process. So, and I want you to think about this, that it's not about any certain person, okay? What it's about is it's about the sales process itself. So this is something that's really interesting, because a lot of people believe that you have to be a great salesperson, but guess what? That's not true. What you just have to do is you have to be somebody that's committed to following a sales process, because it's a sales process, not so much you. Now, obviously, you want to be likable and things like that on things, but, at the same time, those are things you can continue to work on, but you just got to be yourself, okay? You got to be yourself. And if you can be yourself and follow a sales process, what's interesting is you can bring, you could be in a position where you've never had any sales experience, and you can close deals. You can close deals a lot of times more than other people that have had tons of sales experience, because you have a proven system that works. And that's one of the keys. So what I want you to do is start thinking about this more and more as you press forward. And I really want you to look at this, because a lot of people I see come in, they say, hey, I have a sales process, I work it and stuff, but a lot of them they don't. What they do is they do it halfway, or they do a fraction of it. Look, I know you're not going to get it all at once, but I really encourage you is to continue to grow in this, okay? And make sure that you're really working this side of things, because a proven sales process creates proven results. I get that. A proven sales process produces proven results. So why wouldn't you want to follow something like that? A lot of people say, well, I have my own style, I do this. That's fine, you can have your own style, but overall still make sure you're following a process. Because if you're following a process, then you can create predictable results. Versus just going out there and throwing spaghetti on the wall, hoping some of these, offers are going to stick. So what I've learned, like I say, over the years is that you can do the old way of just coming in, the old direct sales process, being very hard, close, and you can get some deals done. No question about it. I've done that for several years. But deals really started increasing and more conversions happened when I changed it from the hard sell to a selling process that was like, I don't even really care if I get the deal or not. That I just was there trying to help the person. And then that would come natural from that is the actual deal itself. So that started changing. And then what I realized after many years of doing it, that there is a actual sales process that you can use working with your sellers that will even create a higher return on your time, on your money, and marketing and everything. And that's where it came through what we call the REI Sales Academy that I had purchased recently here from John Martinez. So, but what I want you to realize is now you're in the position too where you can run with this as well, guys. Okay? You don't have to go out there and beat yourself up on this. I mean, look, everybody has their own little style on things, and I want you to keep that. I want you to have your own little personality on things. But I want you to realize that without the sales process, it's really hard to be in a position where you can have measurable results, okay? And I kind of looked at, in fact, if I compare it and I look at like no sales process versus actual sales process. Well, no sales process, you're not going to have predictable results. You're not going to, typically you're not building rapport with people on a deep level. You're not having the higher conversions on things. You're going to find out that your margins on a per deal basis are going to be typically a little smaller. Doesn't mean you can't get some bigger ones done, and you can sometimes from being a little bit of roughneck, but overall it's kind of a scattered side of things, and it's really what I look at is there's no real process there versus a actual set process on things. There is a rapport building. There is a set system in place that creates predictable results. You can turn around and really help people out. You can create solutions for people, and you can actually see where you're going with this and be able to make more money on a per deal basis and convert more, okay? So just think about this, okay? And this is what will set you apart from the average real estate investor out there. There's a ton of them out there. A lot of people go out and do this, but a lot of people talk about having a process, but very few actually practice it. I hope you enjoy this today. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here, give us a like, and we'll talk to you later.